Well, welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for joining us as always.
All right. Are you guys ready to hear about another or to discuss another episode of General Hospital? Well, we're getting ready to get right to it. We're talking about the week of December 15th through December the 19th. And today we are taping on December the 20th. Are you ready, Brandon?
Mom, I'm ready. It's our penultimate of 2025.
All right. So let's start first and talk about Portia. Last week, Portia and the baby were feeling a little stressed, and so she had a little few issues with the baby. And so she was hospitalized, but Portia is fine. Portia was going to stay in the hospital for an additional day, and Curtis did give her the opportunity to come and stay with her when she was released from the hospital. Later, Portia did turn it down, and then when and instead she went with Isaiah to his cabin. Now, no one knows where she's at, but she is with Isaiah resting. And then now let's talk a little bit about Willow. Willow's trial has started. And so the big question is, what are we learning about the case itself? And are we any closer to finding out who really shot Drew? Well, from the trial, we've learned the following. We have learned that there is no question about Drew's phone records during at the time that the incident did occur. We know that the tape of Willow driving has disappeared. Now, on our side, we know, of course, that Brennan, as far as we know, Brennan is the one that kind of helped that happen. But for the trial's sake, the tape has disappeared, and only pictures are present. When the ADA Turner tried to turn this in, uh, when the ADA Turner tried to turn this information into the courts, Alexis did object to it. And as far, if I remember correctly, the pictures are really not admissible because they prefer the tape to be used. We also learned that Willow actually learned how to use firearms while she was in the cult that she was in, Dawn of Day. And that was something I didn't quite know when Christina was brought to the trial. And so they did question her. And during the trial itself, they did talk about Dawn of Day. And they talked about how they were learned. And so those in the cult actually learned to use firearms. And that was the first time, or maybe I just didn't pay attention to it before because it wasn't relevant, but it was the first time that I kind of heard this mentioned. Brandon, do you remember that? I know you were kind of on and off during the time of the Dawn of Day storyline. However, do you remember this point coming up before?
No, I wasn't even watching it at all during that point. I mean, I just started last year, so no, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but no, I didn't know that.
All right. All right. And so those are some of the things we learned during the trial itself. Now, Drew, when he was on the stand, he wanted to tell everyone that he saw Michael. However, Alexis basically threatened his life. And so he decided not to say anything about that. He did tell the truth during the trial. And so that, I think, was as much that went on during the trial itself. Brandon, what did I leave out about the trial?
That is assuming that he doesn't know who shot him.
Yeah, that's assuming he doesn't know. We have our questions and doubts, and we'll talk about that at the end when we kind of discuss for this week who shot Drew, because it changes with us on a regular basis. Anyway, so now let's move on to Tracy. Tracy has returned, and when she returns, she does find out about Ned. She is upset that the family did not let her know what was going on with her son. However, she's very supportive of Ned and says that she'll do whatever she needs to do to make sure that he remains healthy. Tracy does find out about the missing items, meaning that the boxes that were at Charlotte's house. She Tracy does find out that the boxes that were at Lulu's house are now with Drew. Tracy is not happy about that at all. Now, when Tracy sees Michael, they do have a little discussion, and she does let Michael know that she will protect him during the trial, and she will not say that she saw him there at Drew's house. Now, she didn't say that she saw him do anything. She just saw him at Drew's house. Now, off in the corner somewhere, there's someone over who's eavesdropping on this conversation, but we're not quite told who this is at this time, or at least we don't know who it is. My guess is would be Chase, but at this time we don't know who the person is who was eavesdropping. And on another side, we've got Laura and Sidwell. They actually have a meeting. Sidwell says that he is ready to buy Sonny's Piers and that Laura is supposed to support this. And then Kevin comes to the meeting, and Sidwell is not happy to see Kevin at all. And then Laura lets him know that Kevin knows everything, and what's more, Sidwell is not happy to see that information. Well, to hear that information. On the other side of Port Charles, we've got Charlotte and Nina. Charlotte actually meets and goes out to dinner with Nina, and Charlotte tells Nina that she's heard from her dad. What I found was interesting is that Nina tells her at that point in time not to say anything else. So she tells Charlotte to keep everything kind of to herself and lets her know that she shouldn't tell anyone about her dad or about her dad actually getting a connection connecting with her. Carly, on the other hand, is still helping hide Valentine, and she's doing that at her place. They are kind of having an interesting little relationship while they're at Carly's house. However, so it's been fun to kind of watch that. And then other news: Brad returns. And this, for me, this was kind of exciting. But anyway, Britt and Brad, they make up and then they go out to eat. And Britt tells Brad everything, which I found really, really interesting. But Britt tells Brad everything that she's been up to. And then at the restaurant, they both realize they're both broke and they could not afford the food that they had. So they both skip out on the dinner itself. And later at the end of the week on Friday, they are arrested or they're taken down to the station anyway because they did not pay for their food. And then Jason actually meets with Jocelyn and they discuss everything about the WSB and Brennan. And so they had a very open relationship, and it was actually a very nice relationship, a very nice conversation to hear between both of them. Jocelyn does tell Jason that she completely trusts him. And that, on my side, I think is everything that happened this week. Brandon, what did I leave out?
Certainly a lot of happening, but a lot of concentrated stories. So I think that is it for this week.
Alrighty. So let's get to the good things. Let's talk about our performers of the week. For me, it was actually Brad. I know Brad just came in, but I thought he did a nice job. He resumed his with his personality that he has, and he went straight to Portia. He's gone to Britt. He's already seen Lucas. So he's hit all the major characters that he should hit. And so it was just nice to see him perform. It was nice to see that relationship that he has with Britt. So Brad and Britt together were really great. All right, Brandon, who's your performer of the week?
Well, Mom, I definitely can give it to Brad as well, but I'm actually going to say Lulu.
Oh, why Lulu?
This week Lulu really was able to sort of go through a range from trying to protect Charlotte to going on the defensive with Jack Brennan. I mean, and even kicking him out and defying his orders and his jurisdiction. And so, I mean, I definitely saw like a nice range from that. And I think, and I hope I'm not confusing this with last week, but I think early this week is when Lulu even had the conversation with Charlotte in which Charlotte says she loves everything about Port Charles except for Mom.
Yes, this is the week that we did see Lulu break down. And so, yes, that was a very she did a good job this week. I agree with you with that. And then as for my amusing scene of the week, that had to do with Brit and Brad. Everything they did together to me was just amusing. So it was so nice to see that happen again. So they comprised my amusing scenes. And these scenes occurred in the restaurant and then outside of the elevator. All right, Brandon, what about you for your amusing scene of the week or
Well, Mom,
scenes?
yes, well, Mom, to add on top of that, I thought there was a quick, funny one-liner where Carly finds out that Valentine has been stalking her and everybody that's been coming to her house. Carly does not approve, but Valentine says he has to do it because she won't share his Hulu login.
Yeah, that was amusing. A little commercial plug there. Very discreet, but a little commercial plug. All right, did you have any other amusing scenes this week, Brandon?
Well, I mean, of course, this week is full of fancy one-liners, but I think those two scenes that we've covered, I think, uh, hit the ones I really want to be taken care of.
Alrighty. And then as for touching scene of the week, I'm going to give this to Jason and Jocelyn. We don't see them together that often, or at least for long periods of time. But when you do see them together, it is very nice to see. Jason and Jocelyn both opened up to each other. They talked about the WSB, and Jocelyn talked about her assignment and probably told things she wasn't supposed to tell. But she said that if there's anyone she trusts Jason. And so I like those scenes together. I don't think Jason's had those scenes with Carly in a while. And so it's nice to see him have these same scenes with Jocelyn. All right, Brandon, what about you for touching scenes this week?
Well, Mom, I'm gonna have to say the same thing.
Okay, sounds good. And then as for fast forward scenes, there weren't any for me this week. If I had to pick, I would pick Portia and Isaiah. But this week I didn't choose necessarily a scene as a fast forward scene or characters. Did you have any, Brandon?
No, Mom, no fast-forward scenes, and I did have another touching scene that I
Okay.
forgot to mention.
Oh, what is that?
Well, this is sort of a scene that I alluded to in the answer before that one, but that is the one with Lulu and Charlotte.
Okay. All right. Makes a lot of sense. All right. As for missing scenes of the week, I didn't notice any missing scenes of the week. What about you?
I don't think I remember any missing scenes per se. I mean, I know certainly Anna's missing.
Yes, and yes, and it was missing. And oh, and I didn't even talk about that. Anna's back. I'm sorry, I left that whole piece out with Anna. Anna is back. She is being held captive. We see that Pascal does come, and he is her caretaker per se. Anna is not tied up, so she's kind of loose in whatever kind of room that they put her in. And so it looks like she has free reign from a room to a bathroom to a bedroom, and you can see that someone could actually watch what she's doing. And what's interesting is that Pascal or whoever left this for Anna, they left the notebook, and so she's able to write out her thoughts, and then she's trying to keep the scenario straight for what happened to her, so she could figure it out. And so I'm sorry I left that out, but yes, Anna is back, and we are not given any information about why she's back, why she was out. We just know that she's being held captive right now. Brandon, did I leave anything else out with Anna?
I don't think so, but I will say that with her absence, that we're seeing it like in bits and pieces, and not like we don't really have a full scene like of her per se in the sense of continuous through episodes. Usually, we see her like in pieces.
Yep, we do see her in pieces. Yes. All right. And so, as for my welcome backs, welcome back, Brad. Brad, welcome back to Tracy. Welcome back to Rick. He was missing for a little bit. Welcome back to Sidwell because he's been missing for about a week, and welcome back to Anna, who's probably been missing for about a month or so. And so we welcome all of them back. Did I leave out any welcome backs, Brand?
Mom, I think for most part that was it.
All righty. And then I have my where are they? Where is Vaughn? I mean, we know he's been taken away somewhere, but where is Vaughn? Where's Ava? She's been missing for a little bit. And where's Cody? Cody is also missing. Any where are yous for you?
Well, the where are you I'm going to add to that list is I'm going to say where are you Terry, our fellow co-chief of staff when our current one's incapacitated.
Yeah, Terry is missing. And Terry's been missing for quite a while. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of reason they give whenever they decide to bring her back. And then we have our Who Shot Drew storyline. And so I'm going to say this week Portia again. I know I've mentioned her before. I'm adding Estella now. I've brought in Stella before, so now I'm going to bring her back. So between Portia and Stella. As for Willow, I'm not sure yet. You know, this trial's going on. We assume they're leading everyone to believe that it is her with an alternate personality, or at least for those people who are watching, viewing everything, that's the way it appears. So I'm wondering if they really plan to be that obvious. And so for this week, I'm gonna go for Portia and Stella, and then I say maybe Willow. I don't think Michael did it. So hopefully I'm not wrong that way, but I don't think Michael did it. So those are my three, well, two, and then the other point 0.5 who I think could have done it. All right, Brandon, what about you for this week? What are your thoughts?
So, Mom, and I was discussing this offline a little bit earlier, but I think Willow did it, but Portia's going to be the one that faces repercussions or takes the fall for it. I'm not saying necessarily in the sense of that they're going to say Portia's guilty, but rather I think Willow will probably be acquitted.
Mhm.
We find out that Willow did it, but the leverage goes. Something happens to Portia that causes her fall to grace. That's my thought of how this all going to go.
All righty. And then we do want to acknowledge that we did find out about the loss of Tony Gary. And I was so sorry to hear that because he played Luke for many, many years in General Hospital. And so I was just sorry to see that. I did watch the show when Tony Gary was on it. And Luke Spencer is just an iconic character. And so he's a character who, even though he has not been on the show in years, the character itself is so iconic that he will be missed. And so I just wanted to just to get that information out also. All right, Brandon. Anything else that you want to discuss about General Hospital?
Well, Mom, I think that is for the most part, as we're beginning to head into the holiday season, and I believe 4 episodes, we believe, of General Hospital next week.
Yeah, according to what we saw, the previews, we believe it is just 4 episodes this week, and we always look forward to the holiday show. So I can't wait to see what they do for Christmas time on General Hospital.
Yes, we're definitely can't wait to see. And Mom, the a question that has no pertaining to plot whatsoever, but is a time before the break because we have a sort of awkwardness where, um, as opposed to like Christmas being like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Friday, it's instead a Thursday. So I guess episodes Monday through Wednesday and one on Friday. So the question is, do you think the Wednesday episode will end with the credits?
That is so funny, Brandon. I can't tell. I think they are right on it now for because I know we know that they were behind. So it's either going to be Wednesday or Friday. So we'll have to see.
Well, Mom, we definitely will.
All righty. All right. Well, we thank everybody for watching today.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Have a great day, everybody, and happy holidays.